How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to the Enclave. So today we are moving on with our next weapon. We have the handle and use of a manually operated rifle or carbine. So just like we did with the shotgun, we are going to skip the we are going to skip the law section. Firstly, because we've covered that in multiple books, and because it is exactly the same in all the books. So we are going to begin with, as always, Module 2, Safety. So, easy peasy lemon squeezy. As always, with identifying a safe direction. We want to keep the firearm indoors, pointed at the wall or floor, or where the two meet at a 45-degree angle. That is pretty universal. The safety rules we are going to go over every time because they are universal and they are important no matter which firearm you're using, be it a toy, be it real. So, number one, always keep the firearm pointed in a safe direction away from people. So that is quite simple. Be muzzle conscious. Also be muzzle conscious of yourself. So be aware when you're flashing yourself with the muzzle of your firearm. Yeah, can be a problem. Number two, always keep your finger off the trigger until ready to fire. Another very crucial one. I actually watched a video the other day, and one of the main criticisms I had is that the person was sort of mid-presentation, I guess. So bringing the firearm up from low ready to high ready, and at that point already had their finger well within the trigger guard on the trigger. And I noticed that immediately, and it was a little bit of a red flag for me. Especially because of the angle it was filmed, you could very clearly see the abuse or negligence, I suppose, of the second firearm rule. Number three, always treat a firearm as if it were loaded. So this, once again, pretty simple, but very, very important. You need to always know the condition of your firearm. If you have a manual safety, you need to know, is that manual safety on or off? If you are using a Glock or any other sort of weapon like that, are you carrying with one in the chamber? Are you not? How many rounds are in your firearm? Is your magazine fully loaded? Is it not? You need to know the condition of your firearm at all times, including its condition of carry. Like, that is probably the most crucial thing you need to understand about a loaded or unloaded firearm. Always know your target and what's beyond it. So there is actually a very crucial little piece of information in the rifle books, be it the self-loading or the manually operated, that is hidden somewhat in this number 4, that isn't in the handgun or shotgun. Always know your target and what's beyond it. So I'm going to read this to you. A rifle is capable of projecting a bullet for distances up to 5 kilometers. Now, you will get asked that question in your closed book test, and there is a 50% chance you'll be asked it in your actual closed book test. So make sure you know the distance of 5 kilometers. When I first went in to do my private citizen semi-automatic or self-loading rifle, that was literally the only question I had for my instructor when I went in to actually write the test. I said to him, yo man, this question right here, how far can a rifle shoot? I've read through this book 20 times and I don't know how far a rifle can shoot according to the book. But sneaky, it was hidden in something that I just overlooked, and that was on me. So I'm pointing it out. Safety rule number 4 in the self-loading and the manually operated rifle: does have a very important piece of information in it. So that is that. That is our four. Yeah, that is our four fundamental rules of firearms. Next up, safety precautions. One should never accept a loaded firearm. That, again, it's important that you remember that, because there are a few questions, be it in the open or closed book test, where they say one should never accept blank space from another person. And I'll be honest with you guys, I always want to put BS. One should never accept BS from another person. That's what I always want to put, but the correct answer is a loaded firearm. You should never accept or hand over a loaded firearm from individual to individual. So, once again, very crucial when to carry out safety precautions. So, when receiving a firearm, you want to make sure that you haven't just been handed a loaded firearm. When handing over a firearm, you want to make sure that you're not putting someone else's life or your own in danger by handing them a loaded firearm. And before cleaning the firearm. So, most, not all, a lot, I guess I'll say, of striker-fired weapons, like the Glocks, like the Canics, require you to pull the trigger before you can remove the slide. So, in that scenario, if you did not perform your safety check and you accidentally had a live round in the chamber, you would be in a bit of a problem, like a bit of a bad situation there. So, as always with our safety precautions and with everything to do with a firearm, we identify a safe direction. We then point the rifle in a safe direction. Bear with the fact that this is not a bolt action. We are then going to lift the bolt handle, which will be about here. Going to lift it about 45 degrees, pull it all the way to the rear until it locks. Doesn't actually lock, it'll just stop sliding. You then inspect the chamber and check down the magazine well. If it has an internal magazine, otherwise you would just remove the magazine, pull the bolt to the rear and perform your mag well and chamber inspection. So it's all going to depend whether your rifle has an internal or an external magazine. Safety catches are going to be different from rifle to rifle, so that is going to be sort of up to your instructor to explain that to you with the actual firearm that you're going to be using on the day. So we now get on to personal protective equipment. Once again, this is universal. Every book talks about it. Every book asks you about it in one way, shape or form. And let's just get into it. Ear protection and eye protection. On a range, once again, a question that will be left with a blank space in between. On the range, one must always wear ear and eye protection. So, eye protection, I wear glasses, so that's a pretty simple thing for me. I'm sort of always wearing a little bit of eye protection. Obviously you can be safer, you do get over glasses, safety glasses, so that is something to consider. And ear protection. So, the main focus of ear protection in this book is relating to indoor use. So in an indoor firing range, the vibrations of the gunshots actually bounce off the walls into your ears, or just come straight from the gun into your ears, whatever it may be. And those vibrations are actually capable of damaging the inner ear bones. So there are a few small bones within the ear that can actually be damaged by those vibrations. So on an indoor range, ear plugs, those being the ones that just sit inside of your ears, are not going to be sufficient. you are going to want ear muffs or earphones, ones that cover your ears completely. And it's actually quite interesting, just by having my hands over my ears like this, it has affected my hearing more than when I was sitting like this. I have a much wider range of hearing like this than I do like this. So yeah, you can actually, even just by doing that with your hands, I mean obviously you're not pushing too hard because earplugs don't push, they just sit. So yeah, basically make sure that on an indoor range you're using proper earphones, sorry, or earmuffs, whatever you want to call them. Safe carry conditions for the bolt action rifle. The condition of which you carry your rifle is of vital importance to your own safety and those around you. Obviously, that is what I was explaining earlier with understanding the condition of your weapon. For everyday carry, it is recommended that you do not carry with a round in the chamber. So basically what they call this is aircraft loaded. So in the military, when you were on an aircraft, this is how you would load your firearm. So you would have a magazine in, you would have a clear chamber, which obviously this always will have, but you'll have a clear chamber, magazine in, and the safety off. Okay, so that is quite simple. You could have the safety on or off. It's going to sort of depend. Obviously you have the safety of having to completely cycle the rifle before you can actually have a chamber with a round in it. So that is that. We are complete with Module 2, Safety for the Manually Operated Rifle. Yeah, that is pretty easy peasy. As always, if there are any questions, if you feel like I missed anything, please feel free to add it down below. Please feel free to ask down below. In the case of a question, of course. And yeah, that is pretty much it. So if you enjoyed in any way or learned anything, please like, comment, share, or subscribe. If you have more time, maybe check out another video. I will link the Module 2 of the handgun, which is a little bit more in detail. So yeah, that is pretty much that. As always, peace out.